Welcome back, citizens of my galactic Pokedex. Welcome back to some gaming. We're not going to talk anymore about politics or culture or war or any of that. We're going to talk about Starfield in relation to No Man's Sky, two games I've been playing a lot of recently. In the background, I'm going to supply you some clips of No Man's Sky throughout the ages. Obviously, it didn't look this good when it released, but I feel like if we're going to compare it to Starfield, which came out, now effectively, and this game's from 2016, we're going to compare the updated version of both. So to start with, the atmosphere of No Man's Sky is superior, and it's because Starfield flatters to deceive. After like half an hour or 40 minutes of playing it, you won't feel immersed. You don't feel like you're actually in space. There's no atmosphere like you're in space, if you'll excuse the pun. And that's because, well, it seems to me anyway, the design of the game, the setting was like thrown in last. As a consideration, it wasn't there to begin with. They built the game and then right at the end they said, well, why don't we put it in space? And that's what we ended up with. No Man's Sky, for its faults, even on release. Well, I don't know, I didn't buy it on the release day, but within 9 months, I'd bought it. And the second you started playing the game, even the intro titles and like the loading screens and stuff, they really had this cool feeling about them. It was almost like Blade Runner or Terminator or something. It has its own style of sci-fi that you can recognise, a brand. And that's what No Man's Sky has. Its brand is you're out in the middle of space. It's just nowhere. It's not relevant to anyone else but you. So it's like a unique, personalised adventure in the empty vastness of space. But they filled it up with a bunch of stuff. So that's another thing that Starfield really misses out. Like Starfield, you look out into the sky and you think, cool, planets, I can go there. But what you have to do is fast travel there. You can't physically go there yourself. There's nothing in space. There's no space battles really, apart from one or two. There's nothing like here. What you can see here, this is No Man's Sky at its finest. This is, you jump into a system, as you turn up, there's a freighter there, a freighter getting attacked by pirates, it gets all its ships out, the pirate ship gets all its fighters out, and there's like a Star Wars-esque battle in space, and you get to pick which one you're going to have. Or you can just ignore it and just watch. But I mean, Starfield just doesn't have that. It has no equal, it has nothing it can offer that's anything like as good as that. And that was... It's not even like No Man's Sky set out with the intent to have space battles, it actually didn't. Sean Murray said at the beginning, this will never be a combat game. If it has combat in it, it will be an accessory. But what a mighty fine accessory that is. I mean, you can see just from these clips that it worked out really well, and the overly colourful, sometimes sort of bit gaudy, tacky looking graphics, they actually look great now. They've had a little bit of time to polish them up, remove the worst of the colouring and put some filters and shaders on. I genuinely think that No Man's Sky looks superior to Starfield. Starfield has some nice assets, but it just has no atmosphere, like I say. It almost gives the impression that an AI has generated those artworks, and humans just stuck them together, glued all the pieces together. So, I don't know how much fun you had with it. I remember my first 15 minutes I thought, okay, let's ignore the loading screens and just assume that it's loading something amazing. Then after half an hour I thought, oh okay, so it's like you need to play it for a few hours to get some experience and get some skills. But then after a few hours you sat there thinking, this is like what No Man's Sky was at the beginning, but it wasn't supposed to be. It's like all promise and it goes nowhere. I don't think they're never going to solve that. Even modders won't be able to solve that. That's a predictable result of the game's design. Whereas No Man's Sky, I mean, it's even down to the name. The name of it suggests that you're going to be lost in a place in the sky which no one else has been nor claimed. No Man's Sky. It's not anyone's possession. You're the first to see it, is the kind of connotation there. And that's what the game gives you. I'll have to, I'll link the guy's channel that I've ruthlessly stolen this footage from, because his graphics card is so much better than mine. This is what the game's supposed to look like. You could compare it to my previous footage if you like, to see how crappy I'm doing in terms of graphics power. But the fact remains, Starfield barely runs on my computer at the minimal lowest graphics settings with everything switched off. Whereas No Man's Sky, pretty much since the day I bought it actually, has remained on the highest maximum settings, just without the ray tracing. It looks amazing. The only reason I can't record it looking amazing is because if I record, it kills the performance. literally I'll be getting 20, 30 frames per second or something like that at 1080p. But this guy is, I mean, you can just see that this guy is a master of graphical settings. I love the way the game looks on his computer, and this is how it should look. If you bought it on a console, PS5, this is how it looks. No messing around with settings. You certainly won't have to endure low settings with the minimal poly count where everyone's got a flat shaded box for a head. I mean, who enjoys that? Nobody enjoys that. The game's meant to be physically impressive. That's like half the fun. You know, taking your robotic dog pet for a walk along with some aliens, or piloting the pet dog thing as a vehicle, or just building something from scratch. I mean, the possibilities in this game are endless, which is what space promises. Endless imaginative possibilities, you know, endless amount of space and possibilities. You might find what you're looking for out there. And I feel like Starfield failed to do that. So from now on, I'm just going to refer to Starfield as Starfailed, in a nod to the fact that it failed in all the marketing promises. It didn't do any of those things. And even with like a couple of months of updates, or even a few years of updates, I just don't see how it's going to be better than No Man's Sky is now. So I guess this is my recommendation for you, a gamer, to go and buy No Man's Sky if you haven't already. It's fantastic. It's one of my favourite all-time games. It really is. And I'm not just saying that because it's the game that I've played the most. I think if I could start again with no memory and play No Man's Sky now, it'd be even better than when I first found it. So it's one of those kind of games. If you're not into space, you're not into simulation games, you're not into anything, if you're just one of those weirdos who likes particular games, I'm telling you, give No Man's Sky a go. You'll love it. You'll not regret the experience. And the DLCs just get better and better. Like, they didn't need to release any DLCs past the first year. That was all that we were promised. I remember I paid like $20 for this game. I hardly paid anything for it. So Atlas Rises, Next, Origins, Beyond. They're called Expeditions. They release these DLCs, which are free, by the way. You just log in and it automatically gives you the option to play them straight away. And they introduce new elements, new ships, new features, graphical updates, all kinds of stuff. It's just part of the game. Like, if you bought the game, you're entitled to all that stuff for free. All you've got to do is log in. Compare that to Starfield. Every little thing you're going to get for that game, you're going to need to purchase through DLC. Or you're going to have to get for free through modders. So they're going to have to give you it for free. They're going to have to pay for it themselves to give you for free. Whereas No Man's Sky automatically gives you these as part of the expeditions that it offers, and there's a new one every now and again. Next Generation was just like, here's all the cool graphics added, and it was cool. I mean, the grass textures and the skyboxes, the clouds, the volumetric lighting, all that kind of stuff. Like, everything you can see here, that's not a skybox, that's real stuff in the sky that you can fly over to, go in, play with, interact with. None of it is eye candy, it's all real. Echo's introduced new races and a different currency. Like, there's two universes. It's not like Starfield, where once you go out of the universe, it just restarts the game in New Game Plus. No. If you go through a portal into a new universe, if you actually knew how to get there, you could travel back to the previous universe. It would take you a long time, but you could do it. It's an option, because the way the game is designed and the way that the universe works in No Man's Sky, it's actually physically real within the bounds of the game. Whereas in Starfield, it's just a collection of nice scenery, a collection of cool assets stuck together, and it's like, look here, okay, now fast travel. Now you're looking here, okay, now you fast travel. And now you're in space, and you're fighting, and then you fast travel. So it's not an open world. I'll take that, I'll die on that hill. Starfield is not an RPG, and it's not an open world game. It's not a sandbox. It's a collection of small RPGs, linear RPGs, i.e. the story missions, stuck together with a bunch of stuff added on top of it to make it competitive with No Man's Sky. And totally failed. So that's it. The conclusion, ladies, gents and Pikachus, is if you haven't already, go and buy No Man's Sky now while it's on sale. You get all the DLCs for free that have ever been released, plus all the future ones. You get to experience one of the best games ever, with the most amount of features, that is just a labour of love project. You won't find a better game than that. And it's a proper sandbox space sim. So, hope you enjoyed that. You go and play No Man's Sky. I'm going to go and play it now. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. Bye. Bye 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 bye.